Clip-O-Man Pictures presents the Forex Video Training Series. Black Belt, 4th Degree, Leverage. Leverage the killer. Most professional traders and money managers trade one standard lot for every $50,000 in their account. If they traded a mini count, this means they would trade one mini lot for every $5,000 in their account. Let that sink into your head for a couple of seconds. If pros trade like this, why do less experienced traders think they concede by trading 100,000 standard lots with a $2,000 account or 10K mini lots with a $250 account? No matter what the Forex brokers tell you, don't ever open a standard account with $2,000 or a mini account with $250. Heck, some even allow you to open accounts with just $25. The number one reason new traders fail is not because they suck, because they are uncapitalized from the start and don't understand how leverage works. Don't set yourself up to fail. We recommend you have at least $100,000 of capital before opening a standard account, $10,000 for a mini account, or $1,000 for a micro account. Of course, open an account only when you are consistently good. So if you only have $60,000, open a mini account. If you only have $8,000, open a micro account. If you only have $250, open a demo account and stick with it until you have the extra $750 and open a micro account. If you only have $1, get a fucking job. If you don't remember anything else in this lesson, at least remember what you just read above. Okay, please listen to the previous thing and engrave it in your memory. Just because brokers allow you to open an account with only $25 does not mean you should. Later on in this lesson, we'll teach you the 6 most important things to consider when choosing a broker. Here's why. We believe most new traders who open a Forex trading account with the bare minimum deposit do so because they don't completely understand the terms leverage and margin really are and how it affects their trading. It's crucial that you're fully aware and free of ignorance of the significance of trading with leverage. If you don't have a rock-solid understanding of leverage and margin, we guarantee you will blow your trading account. Leverage and margin defined. What is leverage? We know we've tackled this before, but this topic is so important we felt the need to discuss it again. The textbook definition of leverage is having the ability to control the amount of money, using none or very little of your own money, and borrowing the rest. For example, to control a $100,000 position, your broker will set aside $1,000 from your account. Your leverage, which is expressed in ratio, is 100 to 1. You're now controlling $100,000 with $1,000. Let's say the $100,000 investment rises in value to $101,000 or $1,000 profit. If you had to come up with the entire $100,000 in capital yourself, your return would be a puny 1%. $1,000 gain divided by $100,000 initial investment. This is also called one-to-one leverage. Of course, I think one-to-one leverage is a misnomer because you have to come up with the entire amount you're trying to control. Where the fuck is the leverage in that? Fortunately, you're not levered 1-to-1. You're leveraged 100 to 1. The broker only had to put up $1,000 of your money, so in return is groovy 100%. $1,000 gain, $1,000 initial investment. Now we want to do a quick exercise. Calculate what your return would be if you lost $1,000. If you calculated the same we did, which is also called the correct way, you would end up with a negative 1% using the 1-to-1 leverage and what the fuck? 100% using the 100 to 1 leverage. You've probably heard the good old cliches, leverage is a double-edged sword, or leverage is a two-way street. As you can see, these cliches weren't lying. So what about the term margin? Excellent question. Let's go back to the earlier example. For example, in Forex, to control a $100,000 position, your broker will set aside $1,000 from your account. Your leverage, expressed in ratios, is now 100 to 1. You're controlling $100,000 with only $1,000. The $1,000 deposit is the margin you had to give in order to use leverage. Margin is the amount of money needed as a good faith deposit to open a position with your broker. It is used by your broker to maintain your position. Your broker basically takes your margin deposit and pools with everyone else's margin deposits to use this as one super margin deposit to be able to place trades within the interbank network. Margin is usually expressed as a percentage of the full amount of the position. For examples, most brokers say they require 2%, 1%, 0.5%, or even 0.25% margin. Based on the margin required by your broker, you can calculate the maximum leverage you can wield with your trading account. If your broker requires 2% margin, you have a leverage of 50 to 1. Here are the other popular leverage flavors that most brokers offer. Aside from margin required, you'll probably see other margin terms in your trading platform. There is much confusion about these, what different margin mean, so we'll try our best to define them. Margin required. This is an easy one because we just talked about it. It's the amount of money your broker requires for you to open a position. It is expressed in percentages. Account margin. This is just another phrase for your trading bankroll. It's the total amount of money you have at your trading account. Used margin. This is the amount of money that the broker has locked up to keep your current positions open. When this money is still yours, you can't touch it until your broker gives it back to you, whether you either close your current positions or you receive a margin call. Usable margin. This is the money in your account that is available to open new positions. Margin call. If your opening losing positions drop beyond your usable margin levels, a margin call will occur, and some or all open positions will be closed by the broker at the market price. Margin call exemplified. Assume you are a successful retired British spy who now spends inside trading currencies. You open a mini account and deposit $10,000. When you first log on, you'll see $10,000 in the equity column of your account information window. You'll also see the used margin is 0, and that the usable margin is 10,000, as pictured. Usable margin equals equity minus used margin. The usable margin will be equal to the equity less used margin. Used margin equals equity minus used margin. Therefore, it is the equity, not the balance, that is used to determine the usable margin. Your equity will also determine if and when a margin call is reached. As long as your equity is greater than your used margin, you will not have a margin call. Equity greater than used margin, no margin call. As soon as your equity falls below your used margin, you will receive a margin call. Equity equals or is less than used margin equals margin call. Go back to demo trading. Let's assume your margin requirement is 1%. You buy one lot of Eurodollar. Your equity remains at $10,000. Used margin is now 100. 9,900 USD usable margin. If you were to close out that one lot of Eurodollar by selling it back at the same price at which you bought, your used margin would go back to 0, and your usable margin would go back to 10,000. Your equity would remain unchanged. But instead of closing the one yacht, the adrenaline junkie, chop-socky retired spy that you are, got extremely confident and bought 79 more lots of Eurodollar at a total of 80 lots of Eurodollar because that's how you roll. You still have the same equity, but your used margin will now be at 8,000. 80 lots have 100 margin per lot, and your usable margin will now be at $2,000 as shown. $10,000 balance, $10,000 equity, 8,000 used margin, 2,000 usable margin. With this insanely risky position on, you make a ridiculously large profit if the US dollar rises. But if the example does not hold in such a fairy tale, let's paint a horrific picture of a margin call that occurs when the euro US dollar falls. It starts to fall. You are long 80 lots, so you see your equity fall with it. Your used margin remains at 0. Once your equity drops below 8,000, you have a margin call. That means some or all of your 80 lot position will immediately be closed at the current market price. Assuming you bought all 80 lots at the same price, a margin call will trigger if the trade moves 25 pips against you. 25 pips? Fucking Humbug. Eurodollar can move that much in its sleep. Wait, how do we come up with 25 pips? Well, each pip and mini lot is worth $1, and you have a position consisting of 80 freaking mini lots. So, $1 a pip times 80 lots equals $80 a pip. If $1 goes up 1 pip, your equity increases by 80. If it goes down 1 pip, your equity decreases by 80. $2,000 usable margin divided by $80 a pip equals 25 pips. Let's say you bought 80 lots of $1 at 1.2000. This is how your account looks if the $1 drops to 1.1975 or 25 pips. And as you can see, your usable margin is now at 0, and you receive a margin call. Of course, you're a veteran international spy, and you faced much bigger calamities. You've got ice in your veins, and your heart rate is still 55 beats per minute. After the margin call, this is how your account will look. Your $1 moves 25 pips, or less than 0.22%. You blew 20% of your trading account. In reality, it's normal for your $1 to move 25 pips in a couple of seconds during a day of major economic data release, and not definitely that much within the trading day. Oh, almost forgot. We didn't even factor in the spread. To simplify the example, we did not factor the spread. We'll now make it super realistic. Let's say the spread for the $1 is 3 pips. This means that your $1 really only had to move 22 pips, not 25 before margin call. Imagine losing $2,000 in 5 seconds. This is what could happen if you don't understand the mechanics of margin and how to use leverage. The sad fact is that most traders don't even open a mini account with $10,000. Because you had at least $10,000, you're able to weather 25 pips before the margin call. If you only started off with $9,000, you'd have only been able to weather a 10 pip drop, including the spread, before receiving a margin call. 10 fucking pips. The negative effects. Let's imagine haunt you about the negative effects about using too much leverage and running out of margin. Hopefully, we've done our job and now you have a better understanding of what margin is. Now we want to take a harder look at what leverage and show you how it regularly wipes out unsuspecting or overzealous traders. We've all seen or heard forex brokers advertising that they offer 201 or 401 leverage. We just want to be clear that they are really talking about is maximum leverage you can trade with. Remember, this leverage ratio depends on the margin required by the trader. For example, if a 1% margin is required, you have 100-to-1 leverage. This is maximum leverage. And then there is your true leverage. True leverage is the full amount of your position divided by the amount of money deposited in your trading account. Huh? Let's illustrate this with an example. You deposit $10,000 in your trading account. You buy one standard 100,000 lot of $1 at a rate of 1.0000. The full value of your position is 100,000, and your account balance is 10,000. Your true leverage is 10 to 1. Let's say you buy another standard lot of $1 at the same price. The full amount of your position is now 2,000, but your account balance is still 10,000. Your true leverage is now 20 to 1. You're feeling good, so you buy 3 more standard lots of $1, again at the same rate. The full amount of your position is now 500,000, and your account balance is still 10,000. Your true leverage is now 50 to 1. Assume the broker requires 1% margin. If you do the math, your account balance and equity are both 10,000. The used margin is 5,000, and the usable margin is 5,000. For one standard lot, each pip is worth $10. $10,000 balance, 10,000 equity, 5,000 used margin, 5,000 USD usable margin. And in order to receive a margin call, your account balance would be 5,000. You lost 5,000, or 50%, and the price only moved 1%. Let's pretend you ordered coffee at McDonald's drive-thru, then spilled coffee on your lap while you were driving, and proceeded to sue and win against McDonald's because your legs got so burnt you didn't know the coffee was hot. To make a long story short, you deposited $100,000 in your trading account instead of $10,000. Take a look how it would look. This means the price of $1 would have to move from 1.0000 to 0.01. This is a price change of 99%. Let's say you buy 19 more standard lots, again at the same rate of the first trade. The full amount of your position is $2 million and your account balance is $100,000. Your true leverage is 20 to 1. In order for it to be margin called, the price would have to move 400 pips. This means the price of euro-dollar would have to move from 1.00 to 0.96, a price change of 4%. However, if you did get margin called and the trade exited at the margin call price, this is how your account balance would look. 20,000 balance, 20,000 equity, 0 used, 0 usable. You would have realized an $80,000 loss. You would have wiped out 80% of your account if the price moved only 4%. Do you see the negative effects of leverage? Leverage amplifies the movement of the relative price of a currency pair by the factor of leverage in your account.